the race season with all the other members, to be asked to come back on a continuous basis is incredible. And I think the last 2 years I've been the co-director, and we've just tried to, I've tried to come into the organization and just give it a runner's feel, and just try to do as much as I can do for the race, and to try to free Myra up so that she can be the face of the organization, because that story's powerful, and that story shouldn't be hidden behind the race and all the specifics of the race. So that's our plan, and it's been a really, really, really good partnership that I'm looking forward to just being a part of for the coming years. And that's all I have, unless you have a question you want to ask.
Well, between each other, Myra, do you want to say anything to Anthony, let about his participation, his support?
Anthony is correct. Our friendship has truly grown over the last 5 years. I truly appreciate your dedication and your support to me as a friend and as a member of the committee for the 5K. I think if I had at least 4 or 5 more of you, we'd be good. And I can get out and do exactly what it is that you have been pushing me to do, and that is be the face of it. And I know I say I'm not going to do it, I'm not going to do it anymore. But I appreciate the fact that you don't let me just say, all right, that's it, and throw in the towel. It is a great event. It is a great thing that I am doing because there isn't anybody else doing it. So that too is a reason why I continue to do it. It's important. I think it's even important for my granddaughter to see, my Mima is doing this in memory of my dad, and hopefully someday she'll want to continue, if not with the race, but something else to honor her father as she gets older.
It's funny actually that you say that, because your granddaughter and my son actually ended up going to my sons and your granddaughter, one of them left. But it's funny because and we talk about how things have become intertwined, and it's funny, because you don't think about that. And one of the great things that I like about what you're doing, and again, what keeps me attracted to it, is because when I grew up as a kid, I remember Mayor Cianci and actually even Mayor Paolino, when they had something that was kind of similar to what you were doing, where they would have like little Olympic days and those type of things for the kids, and those were diversionary programs.
Right.
And your program, what's great about the Stephen K. Latimer 5K is it's not only great because it supports families against violence, but it's important because it also promotes community health, and that's one of the things that I think is really great too. And one of the reasons why I'll never let you stop it is because even if that one day out of a 365-day cycle, some of the people that come out and they work out, that may be a good change for a healthy start. So that's one of the other reasons why I stay connected. And one of the best things I think, and I don't think I've ever told you, but one of my most proudest moments with me and you as being friends was when I ran with your daughter for the Girls on the Run 5K, and that was. I have to say it was, you think about big sisters and big brothers, which I was also a part of. You think about those things, and you think about the community settings, and you think about, and I tell people all the time, your role models aren't just the people who you wake up to every day.
Right.
Your role models are the other people who aren't your family, and that's why I stay involved, because I want some other young man or young woman to see that, there's someone else besides her father that's a responsible black person. And I want my sons and my daughters to be able to say that there's another example besides mommy and daddy. And I think you do a great job with that, you know, and especially with your granddaughter. I still, you know, one of my screensavers is of me and her crossing the finish line, and it's funny because my son Aiden, he sees that picture all the time. He's like, I go to school with her. And it's just a good connection and how you connect people in the community that you never know, you know, 10 or 20 years down the line may have a connection. And that's why it's such a great job of what you're doing, because, you know, back in the day, the community would do more of that, which, you know, aside from this, are things that we need to do in the community. You know, there was a thing, Johnny Brito, the legend that he is with the Boys and Girls Club, he would take us. We didn't have a Boys and Girls Club on the east side, but for him to curb the violence, what he would do is, on Saturdays, he would come to pick us up, and he would bring us to the Fox Point Boys and Girls Club, and then we would play in basketball tournaments, and that's how we would get to know the other kids in the community. And if there was a problem, that's how those things got squashed. You know, and those, you know, the things that you're doing like that is what is needed in the city. You know, it's not people just throwing money at a problem. It's getting all the other people that are in the communities involved, whether that be the mayor, whether that be, you know, and I'm gonna call them out. You put this on local TV, you know, where is the councilman in that ward? Where is the state representative in that ward? You know, shout out to Robert Lancia, who's not even in our district, who's been there for the last whatever amount of time that I've been going, and shows up and runs the race and helps promote the race. You know, so where are our elected officials when they're not looking for votes? You know, the people that are in the community that are going to make a change in the community, not people who only want to be around when, you know, when the news cameras are around, or when the, you know, when the newspaper are around. You know, it has to be a community approach, and we want to reach out to everyone that's in the community as well, not just the politicians, but the schools, the local businesses, the churches. You know, when we can learn to accept each other, and for whatever the differences are, you know, whatever the differences are, you know, that's what's going to curb violence. You know, when you know that, you know, just because you live on the east side or the south side or Chad Brown, doesn't matter where you live, you can all get along. That's when we're going to make change. So, and that's all I really have.
Okay, guys, one quick question. Something I asked the police chief last year at the end of the race, and this is the second time that I've been involved, and I'm very grateful for that, but I've only been the only camera out there covering it. Had there been a violent event nearby or there, channel, 12, 10,
Fox,
6, Fox, everyone would have been there. And the police chief and I were talking about that. Why is there no coverage of good events?
Right.
Why are there only coverage of bad events? And why not, in our community, we get good coverage of the CVS Caremark, but no coverage for the Stephen K. Latimer 5K.
You want to take that on first? Because I know exactly why.
Unfortunately, good news isn't good news. It's as if maybe the media, the news, wants to promote all of the negative things that go on in the community. My son's death was a negative event, and I'm doing something positive after such a horrific tragedy. And the fact that I can't get the news media to show up, or elected officials, as you said, it is bothersome to me. I don't know why, and if somebody could give me that answer, that would be great. And I mean, not just your answer, but the media. I mean, reach out to me, call me, because if something was to happen, I'm sure if the person who committed this crime, if something comes up, we've got him and they're gonna charge him, I'd be getting calls. So I don't want calls just because of that. I want you to show up and be happy about the fact that I'm doing something positive from something so negative and tragic.
If I may, one of the quotes was, and this is what we need to change. The officer said, "If it bleeds, it leads."
Well, first and foremost, I think the problem is just the perception of how you want to paint a certain community. If this was something that were going on on the east side of Providence, and it was, and I'm not saying that causes are different, but if it was a cause, I mean, hell, the media will pay more attention to someone that treats their dog like less than a human than humans that are trying to be good to other humans.
Right.
And you think about that philosophy, and I think a lot of it has to do with where it happens. You know, I tell people all the time, I'm very proud to be a Providence resident, a lifelong Providence resident. I would never live anywhere else, and I have the option to, but I love Providence. But I think one of the things about Providence is the deep division, you know, where you have sections that are sectioned off and that are tiered differently, you know, and I don't think that's just the media. I think that's with, you know, it's broken down to city services, it's broken down to policing, you know, trash, whatever other different things there are. But I think as far as the media is concerned, if you can't sensationalize it and it doesn't promote drama, you know, then, and it's in an urban part of the city, they're not going to promote it.
Right.
They're just not going to promote it because it's happy.
Right.
And that part of the community isn't supposed to be happy.
We have 13 minutes left, so you guys got to want to say anything in the last 13 minutes?
Well, what I want to do is, first, you know, we have some good themes coming up for this race. You know, I want to get into all the, this race is going to be, I think this is like a coming out party where, like, we just have so many different things. You know, we have the chip timing, we have the photographs, we have the option now to do the virtual race. We also have a tournament of champions where we're going to invite all the champions from all 6 years back, and they're all going to race against each other to see who's the king of the champions. Mm-hmm. And in addition to that, we have a new promotion that we're going to bring out as well, where if someone can come to our race, whoever that runner is, and if they can beat the fastest 5K in the state, 5K time in the state, then they win a prize of, I believe it's $500.
Well, actually, since we don't have any way of knowing all of the times for every single state, we're actually going to leave it to the best time of the 5 years that we've done the event.
Oh, I suggested that. See?
You did.
See, runners know. Runners know.
So it will be the best time. Whoever beats the fastest time over the last 5 years, and it's actually a pot of $1,000 because two people have decided to donate $500 each.
So actually, it'll be $500 for the top woman and $500 for the top men. So that's actually what it is. That's what we agreed on. And I believe David Curry holds the record.
No, we'll have to talk about that at the race. I mean, at the meeting, because I'm not sure. I think it was just the top. Oh, well, it would need to be. Never mind.
All right.
I don't know. We might have to really cut that one up.
We'll have enough. So we got it? Everybody good?
Yeah.
We're good.
All right.
We're good.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Myra, at the last 5K, we had Providence Finest representing.
Yes.
Want to give them a shout out. Hopefully, want to say something about that. I know you're very familiar and you're good friends with Chief now, right?
Yes. Hugh Clements has been amazing the last 6 years. Every year, I believe he has actually come out to the 5K. If not, he may have missed 1 year, but he has definitely been a truly supportive of this whole endeavor. Last year, Oscar Perez came out, and he was very supportive, and again said, make sure next year you get in touch with me and we'll do what we can. I'd love to see more of the police department come out and participate in the race. I know not everyone on the police department runs, but you can come out and run, walk, and not just the Providence Police Department. I'd love for the surrounding cities to come out. Central Falls, Pawtucket, East Providence, I mean, state police. It would be nice to actually have them all.
They can call on Kobe. They have the Midnight Basketball League. They run up and down that basketball court.
I know.
They can run up, they can run down, run to the course.
Right. I agree. I mean, it's only 3 miles.
Right.
It's a short day, you know. But it would just be nice to show that we are on the same page, that we all want the same thing. Not stop the violence, stop the senseless violence. And I don't, not necessarily just the gun violence, because there are other ways that, you know, people have been killed or murdered due to violence. So my crusade isn't just for gun violence, it's violence as a whole.
And other institutions, maybe like the school district, maybe get some participation from the school district?
Yes, I actually met with the superintendent last week, and they are planning to put the event on their social media. They're also going to put me in contact with the athletic director for the schools, as well as the woman who heads up the health department in the school departments. And they're also putting me in contact with a woman, JL, and
yeah, familiar with her.
Who heads up Black Males Initiative.
Yeah. At this point, what is your message to your audience, and with that, what would Stephen be saying, and what is he saying, and what is his message through you to everybody out here?
Well, I will say Stephen's message to me is don't give up, keep pushing forward, because every year I do say to Anthony and the committee, this is the last year I'm going to do it, but every year someone will give me a call or a text and say, are you ready to get started? Mainly Anthony, but some others do as well. But you never realize how many people are affected by violence until you're in a room and you happen to tell your story, and someone in that room comes up to you afterwards and says, I've experienced X, Y, and Z, and I've never said anything to anybody. So you have a lot of people who have gone through something and you would never know. And then you have a lot of people who have gone through it, losing a loved one to violence, who don't come out and participate. Whether it's just to be in the presence of other people and just have a day of solidarity, or you're actually going to come out and participate in the event. I personally can't understand why someone wouldn't want to, but being a survivor, because I will not call myself a victim, but being a survivor, as much as I would prefer to sit at home, you know, when I get out of work and not do this, how could I not do it? My son didn't deserve to lose his life, and I will continue to do whatever I can to keep his memory alive, to try and make the difference in the life of someone else. another child, another adult, another mother or father who lost their child, because by me standing up, telling my story, putting my pain and my desire to really just crawl up and sit in my house and live in my sorrow, I think it's important and it's helpful to me to get out and do what I do. So I will continue to do it. I say jokingly that even if only one person shows up for the race, I will continue to do it. But that would be kind of difficult to spend that kind of money to have one person show up. But it is my goal to just touch as many people as I can, and hopefully others will say, you know what, she's doing this. Not do exactly what I'm doing, not even get out and speak about it, but get out and come and share in the day, just to get that feeling of peace or connection with others.
One last question, and here's how you say it. You know, the people who have lost someone and they're going through that tough time, when you look at it and it's like, what was it for you when you were going through that period and you was like, I'm just going to close myself off to the world and I'm just not going to do anything? When you were at that point, what inside you said, that's not me, that's not who I am, I got to get up, I got to do this, and I got to keep moving?
Well, there wasn't a point where I really felt like that, because even during the planning for Stephen's services after his wake, there's his daughter, there's my other son, Andrew, and